Hey guys, today I want to talk about the Pixel. This, it is the Pixel 3a. I got this. It came out on a Tuesday, and I got it on a Thursday because my contract was up. So I've got this on contract. It's a Pixel 3a. It's not the 3a XL because the XL is just too big for that one. This is about £400 brand new. And I'm going to talk about why I got this instead of an iPhone. Because before I had this, I had the 64GB iPhone SE for 3 years. And I refused to upgrade to any phone until this thing came out. So, why did I get this? So why did I finally get this and finally get rid of my iPhone? Well, for a bit of background, I used to be a runner. I'm a mountain biker as well, but I used to be a runner. And my hip gave up. I can't run anymore because if I run more than 2 miles, my hip starts killing me. So I had to stop that. But the reason why this is important is because of the size of the phone. One of the reasons I didn't upgrade when my contract was up before, because it's been up for a year before I upgraded to this. One of the reasons why I didn't upgrade before is because the phones were too big. When you're running, my phone was on my arm here. And this thing, plus would be too big. Now the iPhone SE, being the iPhone 5 size, was ideal for that. Because it has 64GB of memory inside it. Or downloaded all the music to my phone and I could run with it. No problem. For mountain biking, it's not too bad because I could just stick it in my pocket or I can get a pocket where I could put it on my bike. So mountain biking is not a problem, but it was because of running, I didn't upgrade to it. Now, for the services I use Google services. I use Google Photo. This was when I was on the iPhone. I use iCloud and Google Photo, and I also backed it up here. I use Google Photos because it's free. I use Google Music because I prefer to buy my music and I'm not into streaming music. So I buy music and then I download it onto my network. This then gets plunked onto my Plex server and I can play it through any computer. I can play it through my TVs, through the Rokus and everything like that. But because I buy all my music off Google Play, it's all unlimited storage on there because I've uploaded all my old music, but you can upload 20,000 tracks for free. I only had about 5,000 tracks before I started using Google Play Music. So all my music is with Google anyway. All my movies are with Google Movies because I just found them to be better. They work with my Rokus. I did have movies and TV shows on iTunes from ages back. I'm talking like 2001, 2002 when I started using Apple. When you started using iMacs properly and Apple TVs. I had the first gen Apple TV when I started buying movies off Apple. And I found a program where I can take all the DRM off them and put them onto my network. So all those are in my Plex server, so I don't need iTunes at all, to be honest. What I liked about the Apple phone though was this, and this is what I wanted on my new phone, was a good fingerprint reader. I got so used to a fingerprint reader. I do not like Face ID. That's why I would not get a new Apple phone. Well, one of the reasons was the fingerprint reader, and I need a headphone jack. Now, I've got something called post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's from when I served in the British Army. And music is a big benefactor for me. It allows me to get out of the house, basically. Without music, I could not get out of this house. And I know there's Bluetooth headphones, but I cannot have headphones that fail. I simply cannot have headphones that fail, because if I have headphones that fail, I start to freak out. That's part of my PTSD. Now, with headphones that actually plug into this headphone jacket, as in this here, this headphone jacket here, I've got the cover on it. I'll just take the cover off first. So this is the headphone jacket here. It's very, very important for me. Don't know if you can see it or not yet. There. Yeah, I will not use Bluetooth headphones. I used to use them a lot, and then the set I have with Power Beats, I think Power Beats 3 or something like that. They failed on me. And I had to go back to wired headphones, and since then I would never get Bluetooth. I've got Bluetooth headphones when I'm on my mountain bike, and that's it. Got some jailbirds. Another thing I like about this phone is the camera. This camera is best in class. I'm going to show you some photos I've taken with this. Now, some of these are from my Instagram. Some of these are from my normal collection. So, this is one of the photos here. That's a video taken with this phone. There's another one. As you can see, that's video, but that's zoomed in. So that's full zoom on this phone. And this is a portrait mode. As you can see, well, I'm on mountain bike there, but as you can see, it is very, very good quality, and that's with the front-facing camera, that portrait, not the back-facing camera, but the front-facing camera. The camera on this is one of the best cameras I've ever seen on a smartphone. It had to have 64 gigabytes of memory at least. I would have liked it to have been waterproof, but this phone is not. The fingerprint reader. I'm just going to touch the fingerprint reader now, and it's unlocked. It's very fast. It's just as good as Touch ID, if not slightly faster. I know it's not got the CPU on it. It's probably not as fast as the A9, which was in my iPhone SE. Well, it's probably about the same speed, to be honest. But my missus had a iPhone 7. And the chip in that is probably faster than the chip in this, because this is only mid-range Snapdragon 670, I think. Hexa-core CPU. My missus' iPhone versus iPhone 7, which is the last decent iPhone I think they've ever made, because everything glass backs I just do not like to smash too easy. I prefer either metal or this type of plastic. The iPhone 7 versus this, I would still get this phone. This one. The fingerprint reader is just as good. The camera is better. The display is amazing. Really is a good display. It's just as good as the iPhone 7s and the iPhone 10s, because I've seen the iPhone 10s in the Apple shop. I think this is just as good as them. The battery life. Now, at first the battery life on this was pretty bad. It lasted about 18 hours. But with Google AI learning how I use the phone, the battery life is now about 1.5 days. In charge. It's got fast charge on it. If you use the power brick what came with the phone, the fast charger will last about 15 minutes of charge. You get about 7 hours of battery life with it. So it's pretty good. It's not got wireless charging on it though. That's one thing which I would have liked, but you've got to remember the price point of this. It's only £400. That's another reason why I would not buy a top flagship phone anymore. They're just too expensive. £1,000 for a phone? That's just ridiculous, man. Then they expect you to upgrade it every year. Nah. Not when you can get phones like this. £400. Google has had to cut corners. The glass on the front is not Gorilla Glass, it's Dragon Tail glass. But it's just as good because at the end of the day, you put it in a case. No, it's got lips on this case. This case cost me £30. It's an OtterBox case. Cost me £30. And I've had no problems with the case whatsoever. Yeah. Now, all the new phones also do not have their phone jack. Like I said, that's just too important for me not to ignore. This does support, and one thing I did use a lot on my iPhone was Apple Pay. I loved Apple Pay. This has got Google Pay, and it works just as good. The other thing which a lot of iPhone users don't want to lose is iMessage. Now, that's understandable. iMessage is very, very good. But most of the people I know use Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, as well as iMessage. So I just use them. I haven't got a problem. Google Duo is like FaceTime, basically. And it works with iPhones and Android and your PC or Chromebooks. I do use a Chromebook downstairs because I use Google Docs and I use Synology Office as well. If this is need a Chromebook, it automatically unlocks a Chromebook. I can send text messages from a Chromebook via this and via this computer. Any Chrome browser can do it. Doesn't have to be a Chromebook. You just need to scan a barcode and then the link together. A bit like WhatsApp for web. So that's alright. The other reason why I didn't get an Android phone before and why I liked Apple is security. Most Android device manufacturers do not update their Android after the first year or two of the phone. I like to keep my phones for at least 3 years. Most Android makers stop supporting the phone after a year, and sometimes if it was like a flagship phone, they support it for 2 years, but the flagship phones are £1,000. For mid-range phones, after a year, forget it. You're lucky if you do. Samsung are probably the best at that. Apart from Google. This phone is supported for 3 years since its launch. You get 2 full Android system upgrades on it. So you get, this is going to have version 10, version 11 at least of Android on it. And then another year's worth of security updates for version 11. So when I replace my phone after 3 years, like I have been doing, this will just be running out of support. And we'll probably be getting another one of these. The other thing what works better with this than iPhone is Google Photos. Because with Google Photos, with an iPhone, I have to unlock the phone and fire up Google Photos for it to do anything. But with with any Android, it just backs up in the background. Google Music. Anytime I add a song to one of my playlists and the playlist has been downloaded onto this phone, I don't even have to open Google Music and it just plonks it on. All the apps I use, now I've got standard apps, like, let's have a look. I've got a Gmail. That's one thing I did have to do. I have to transfer all my email, my contacts over from Gmail and all that lot from iCloud to Gmail. But for the contacts, here's a tip for you. If you are, if you are changing from iPhone to Android, if you download the Google Drive app onto your iPhone, you can sync your contacts and calendars through the Google Drive app. So I use things like Gmail, Facebook, obviously, DS Note from a Synology, from a note-taking app, because I prefer the notes on my network, not in Google's hands. Fitbit, Twitter, Instagram, my YouTube stuff, like YouTube itself, and then YT Studios, so I can keep an eye on comments and stuff like that on my videos. Discord, because I'm a gamer, so. And Amazon. Obviously Google Music, Chrome, stuff like that. The other thing I really like about Android is widgets. Now I know that iOS has widgets, but the widgets on Android I think are better. Like if you have a look at this now, I've got a Fitbit because I've got a Fitbit Blaze. That's my steps that I've done. Now, if I want to see my steps I did on iOS, I'll have to open the Fitbit app up. Stuff like that. As you can see, weather. You can get Dark Sky for this, but this is the Met app, the Met Office app. You can get Dark Sky for this. Dark Sky, I think, is absolutely brilliant on iOS. It's exactly the same app on Android. And you've got my Google Play Music widget, which I can skip the songs and that lot. And that's my calendar. So I think the widgets in general are a lot better. The assistant, I'm not really bothered about the assistant, to be honest. The main thing I use the assistant for on any of them is a timer. So it's good on both of them. I do have an Amazon Alexa device and a Google Home here. I'm using both. Well, I use the Google Home. My missus, when she stops over here, uses the Amazon Alexa because she's got one at her home, so she knows how to use it. And I am getting the Google Home Hub because I'm getting it free with this phone. So, but most of the time, I just use them to play music. One thing I've noticed though is if you have a Google Home Hub, or Google Nest Home Hub now as it's called, or Google Home, the casting works a lot better on Android than it does on iOS. Because with iOS, if you put your phone in, if you turn the display off and then you unlock your phone, it forgot where the casting was. Where with Android, it doesn't, and you have to reconnect up on iOS, and sometimes it didn't work. So yeah, this has got Bluetooth 5 on it as well. I would say the main plus points for this, for me, is the camera. The camera is absolutely excellent. The display is good. The battery life is okay. The speakers are good. You got twin speakers. You got a speaker here, and one of these is a speaker, and the other one's a microphone. It uses USB-C instead of Lightning. So, for instance, I've recently got this here. This is USB-C, and it allows me to connect to the microphone to this phone. And this phone can capture 4K. I can put any microphone in there. I've got a couple of microphones which can fit in there. You saw one in a recent video. You can catch 4K at 30 frames a second, or HD at 120. You can plug in, you can get an SD card reader for it. You can even plug in USB drives. You can get USB dongle and you just plug in a USB drive, and then you can back up, say, photos and stuff like that onto it. Or if you take a photo with, like if I took a photo with my DSLR and then plug a USB card in it, plug a USB port on here, USB 2 port, so get an adapter, then I can plug in my card reader, then it can load directly to Instagram or whatever straight from this phone in the field, stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm a heavy user of the phone, as I'm not on it all the time. One thing I would definitely do is turn off the digital well-being on this, because it's buggy as hell at the minute. That drains your battery life a lot. So I've turned it off. You can do that in the settings. But for a phone that cost £400, brand new, you can't go wrong. These pure versions of Android, so there's no stupid skins on it. But yeah, if you're in the market for a new phone, I don't see any reason of buying a flagship phone when there's this on the market. The CPU is slightly slower. The only time I've noticed the CPU being slower than, say, an iPhone, because the iPhone SE had the dedicated chip inside it, is when it did panoramic photos. It took her about a second or two to stitch it together. But one thing this does do that the iPhone does not do is, I'm just trying to see if I can find it in my photos now. Here it is. Is 360s. So let me show you what I mean. Here is a 360. This was all done on the Pixel, as you can see here. I'm going to scroll around. I can't do that on an iPhone. You can do panoramics, but you can't do 360s. That was done on this phone. That took about 5 seconds to process. Where if you had the full Pixel, which is about £900, or between £700 to £900, I can't remember. That's instant because it's got a dedicated chip on it. But this hasn't, it does it all in software. The other good thing about the camera on this is the night mode. It's the best in class. I haven't got a photo saved on it, but it's the best in class. So, my recommendation is, if you're in the market for a new phone, you don't want to spend £1,000 on a new phone, but you want a good camera. You're not bothered about it being waterproof. You're going to stick it in the case, like every phone you should stick in the case anyway. You don't mind pure Android. You don't mind not having iMessage if you've got Android, if you've got iPhones. Get this. That's another thing about this phone as well. As you can see, midnight. Always on display. What can I say? This is Blackjack, signing off.